Welcome to the Parenting Lab podcast. I'm your parent coach, Brittany, and I am here to guide you into the calm, clarity, and connection you're looking for as you transform your parenting from the inside out. Let's get started.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today in the Parenting Lab. Today, I want to tell you a little story from the archives of my own parenting. So I hope you'll indulge me in a little bit of nostalgia for a few minutes because as I've thought about this experience recently, I really feel like there's a valuable lesson to take away from it, even all these years later. So I want to take you back to 2013. At that time, my kids were 8 and 5, and it was a really vulnerable time for me and my husband financially. I had just started my in-home preschool to try and make ends meet, and I was also working part-time in the evenings, and my husband worked 2 jobs at the time as well, so it was a tough schedule for all of us, to say the least. One of the big reasons I started teaching preschool was so that I could make some much-needed income, but also be home with our kids. But that first year was so time-consuming, trying to write lesson plans, build and furnish the classroom. I mean, it was starting from nothing, completely from scratch, with no real experience. So it was just so much work. And as soon as school started, I was sure I had made a huge mistake. I felt busier and was stretched thinner than I felt I was when I was working away from home. And I was really struggling to find balance, which was having a negative impact on my kids, which was exactly the opposite of what I had hoped for. As the fall of 2013 wore on, and I desperately sought solutions to the challenges I was having, I had a very distinct and very urgent impression that I needed to go back to school. What? No way. I had had a couple of semesters of college under my belt that I had done when I was like 18, but that didn't really work out for me. And I had tried to go back to school a couple of times before, but I hadn't really done well, and the timing of this just always seemed off. So how could now, when I felt like I had such a precarious hold on my sanity, how could now be the right time to go back to school? Well, the feeling didn't go away, so I just decided to do some research. Wasn't it too late to apply anywhere anyway? It was already fall, so surely a winter semester start was out of the question. But I decided to look, and you guys, it would take hours to describe all of the many miracles that happened during that fall that opened every single door that needed to be opened in order for me to be accepted, have my credits transferred, get financial aid for the next semester, which started in just a few weeks, and get accepted into the program that I wanted, the school that I wanted. But before I knew it, on top of every other crazy thing that was going on in our lives, I added 12 college credits to the load in January of 2014. I honestly did not know how I was going to manage it, let alone manage it well, but there we were. My new schedule was to teach preschool during school hours, then go to work on the 4 days a week that I was scheduled, come home, take care of my kids, get them to bed, spend a little bit of time with my husband when he was home, then log into my classes around 10 or 11 at night and work until 2 or so in the morning. I was exhausted, but it was working, so that was that. The way that my courses were scheduled, they were all online, but everything was always due on Saturday night at 11:59 p.m. Because this Saturday deadline was such a critical one for me, I felt like I was glued to my computer, and I remember feeling like the worst mom in the world. I felt selfish and guilty and neglectful, like I wasn't fun. I was just stressed and tired and busy with everything important except my kids. But we were struggling so much, and I knew that getting my degree would be a blessing for us eventually. So I remember feeling really desperate one Saturday, knowing that I had so much to do before midnight. My husband was always working swing shift on the weekends, so it was always just me and the kids. In that desperation and looking for a creative solution, I announced that tonight was going to be chicken nugget night. It was going to be so special. We were going to cook dinosaur chicken nuggets and tater tots. Then I was going to let them eat their dinner in the family room while we all watched a movie. Then we would have a sleepover in my room. Oh man, My kids were so excited that they were going to be able to eat in front of the TV, and they got to work straight away making their beds on my bedroom floor. Dinner time came. We ate our nuggets with special chicken Nugget Night sauce, which was just ranch dressing and mustard, and we cozied up on the couch to watch a movie. Well, the kids were watching a movie, but I was on my laptop busting out assignments. Then I tucked them into their little blanket beds on the floor of my room and got everything done by midnight. The next Saturday, both kids asked if we were going to have chicken Nugget Night again. They loved it and felt like it was so fun and so special. So we did, that night and almost every single Saturday for the entire 4 years that I was in school. Nuggets, movies, and homework. That's all it was. Nothing crazy. Well, here we are more than 10 years later, and we haven't had chicken Nugget Night in a hot minute. By the time I graduated, my kids were teenagers and way too cool and busy to sit with me on a Saturday night and eat chicken nuggets, but I found that I have missed it over the years. I remember a couple of years ago when my son was leaving for college, and I asked them if they remembered chicken Nugget Night. Oh man, that was the best. We loved that special sauce you made. What was that? And then sleeping in your room, man, good times. Like they loved talking about it. And then I said something like, I always felt so bad because I was on my computer and not actually watching the movie with you. Ugh, that was so hard as a mom. And you guys, this is why this story is so important. They didn't remember that. They didn't remember it. All they remember is that we were together, doing something special and out of the ordinary, snuggled on the couch and then tucked into the safe and cozy nest of my bedroom. And when they woke up, Dad was home and we were all together. That's what they remember. That's their recollection of it. So that's the lesson that's really been on my mind. It's okay if you're in a season of life where you may not be able to show up the way you really want to. Maybe it's work or school, or you're co-parenting and don't have custody all the time. Maybe you're overwhelmed or trying to move through past trauma or are dealing with mental or physical illness. I want to tell you that whatever your circumstance, however unideal it is, your kids just want you. In your disorganized, distracted, anxious, smelly moments, they just want you to show up for them. They will remember the times you showed up. They will remember the effort. They will take what you offer with grace and acceptance and love. Now that my son's been away from us for a year and a half, he and my daughter are constantly making plans for when he comes home in 6 months. All the things they want to do together that they've missed. Going to the gym, driving around, catching up on all the music that's been released since he's been gone, food that they'll eat, movies they'll see. It really is just so fun to hear them making plans. But recently, when they were reminiscing about the good old days, they brought up chicken Nugget Night. My son said, "Oh, we should bring back chicken Nugget Night. Those were the best nights ever." And I feel like in that moment, a wound for me was healed. I can let go of all the guilt and the worry about whether I did my best or if I was good enough. Because for my kids, all they really needed was me. Well, me and chicken Nugget Night. So whatever phase you're in, whatever you're able to offer your children, find a way to make something special. Because when your kids are looking back at their childhoods, I promise that the times you showed up for them will be the first things they remember. And that will heal your heart and soothe your soul, just like it has mine. So try this out in the way that makes sense for you and your children, and maybe start a new tradition. That's your challenge for the week. If your family had something like this when you grew up, or you already have something like this going with your kids, I would love to hear about it. So leave a comment or email me your story. I will be back next week with another episode where we will explore the art and science of parenting and put your parenting to the test. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week with your kids. Take care, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Parenting Lab podcast. For our complete catalog of online courses, free resources, or to join our mailing list, please visit theparentinglab.org. See you next time.